replacement for failing lines?
Becky has brought it to my attention that we've got some lines on the south end of town in an area around West First, West Main, and East Main. We have some lines that are in bad shape that need to be replaced, we need to go ahead and get Carter and Sloop to go ahead and get some engineering plans. And in your packet there is a list at the bottom of the streets. But we need to go ahead and get that going so we can get those lines in place before the problem gets any worse.
And we have a sewer issue in one area. Can you mention that too? Behind the jail?
Behind the jail, yes. And there is a sewer issue there too that they can look at in the process.
That's in another area. That was being looked at.
Yeah, I think so.
We discussed that today. Okay, good. Okay, so it would be water line for most of that area, but there could be some sewer issues in a couple of. There is a sewer issue in one part. I'll just tell you that. I don't know that it's a big sewer issue, but I don't know that it's not.
And that might be something I have generally looked at that sewer issue. Okay.
Several times. They're from the internet, so we're told. So you're needing approvals for.
So I'll make the motion we approve Carter to go ahead and start the engineering process on these waterline projects that are listed. And they are Church Street, East Main, McKinney Street, and West First.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor? And I don't know if you said this can be paid through surcharge account.
No, I didn't.
This can be paid through surcharge account, so it wouldn't come out of our regular budget because it's not paid for in the regular budget. So, okay. SRF meter replacement grant,
this is something we've done last year, and it's kind of a revolving thing. And we didn't really specify the last go around, but we need to just go ahead and have Carter and Sweet put in for it every year until we have all the meters replaced, because our system is our metering system has gotten old and they're not making updates or replacements for meters. So we need to phase those out and get the new ones in. So I'd just like to make a motion that we allow Carter and Sloop to go ahead and put in for the SRF grant for the meter replacement until we have all the meters replaced.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
All in favor? And also the new meter reading equipment doesn't work on the old equipment, so that'll be really important to get these new meters in every year. We could do, I think we did 600 this last time, and we got about 2,500 meters in the ground. So hopefully 4 years to do it. An amendment to the millage rate ordinance, the first reading. Some of you were here for our reading before on this. Because of the changes in the, where some properties had been reappraised, it changed our millage rate, and it actually lowered the millage rate. It didn't change the bill any, but it was not the millage rate that we quoted that day. It was 5.77. We talked about it's actually going to be 5.47, so it's less. The bills are basically the same. It's just a calculating issue that we have to work with. And that ordinance is an ordinance to amend the ad valorem tax rate for the city of Blue Ridge, Georgia for the calendar year of 2015 and the fiscal year for said city of 2015 to levy said tax upon all property subject to taxation by the city of Blue Ridge, Georgia, to provide for the time of payment of said taxes, to provide for interest and penalties for administrative procedure for the collection of delinquent ad valorem taxes, to provide an administrative procedure for the collection of delinquent ad valorem taxes for years prior to 2015, to repeal conflicting ordinances to the extent of the conflict, and for other purposes. I need a motion to approve.
I'll make a motion to approve the amendment to the millage rate ordinance.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
All in favor? GFA resolution for loan modification. This is for the GFA meters. Robbie was talking about the first round of those. It's $195,000 through the GFA, Georgia Environmental Finance Authority, and I need a approval to amend that, or for the resolution. And I'll go ahead and read the resolution. At a duly called meeting of the governing body of the borrower identified above, which would be the city of Blue Ridge, held on today's date is the 10th of November. The following resolution was introduced and adopted. Whereas the borrower has borrowed $195,000 from the Georgia Environmental Finance Authority pursuant to the terms of the contract for financing environmental facilities and for other services dated June 26, 2015, between the borrower and the lender. Whereas the borrower's obligation to repay the loan made pursuant to the loan agreement is evidenced by a promissory note dated June 2, 2015 of the borrower. Whereas the borrower and the lender have determined to amend and modify the loan agreement pursuant to the terms of the modification of the loan agreement between the borrower and the lender, the form of which has been presented to this meeting. Now therefore be it resolved by the governing body of the borrower that the form, terms, and conditions of the execution, delivery, and performance of the modification are hereby approved and authorized. Be it further resolved by the governing body that the borrower that the terms of the modification are in the best interest of the borrower, and the governing body of the borrower designates and authorizes the following persons to execute and deliver and to attest respectfully the modification and all related documents necessary to the consummation of the transactions contemplated by the modification. Do I have a motion to approve?
I'll make a motion to approve the GFA resolution.
You want to read that again in the motion? Do I have a second?
I'll second.
All in favor? Downtown Park. That was added by me. As you know, we had talked with Martin Haber, who I think is actually here. I know I saw him. So if anybody has questions about the plan, we did receive our first initial grant money, and we need to know what direction we're going. Kiwanis is still working on theirs. They're still working on their grant. They should apply by January. And we have received a small grant from ETC, which is $25,000, which can be used toward playground equipment. So we need to decide, are we doing this project or not? Are we going to send money back, or are we going to move forward?
Certainly hope we would keep it, move forward.
Did we ever get a budget?
He gave you a budget in the very beginning. He sent everybody a copy of that. I told you the trees, and you sent a PDF file, didn't you, to all of us? Well, I think Cindy might have sent it. It was in all of the master plan stuff. Rick sent it. Excuse me, I'll get the right person in a minute. But we have a copy and the amount. The budget was, the 130 was actually the grant amount for the fence, trees, shrubs, hard surface stuff. And then your playground equipment, I don't think you have a budget because you don't know which direction you're going. That's the problem. So you have playground equipment. Some of it you can still use. It needs to be taken apart, sandblasted, and painted. But you have some of it you cannot put back up. Swings are one of those things.
Yeah, I know the swings are.
But, you know, we have, like I said, EPC has come forward with $25,000 of their foundation, and
so they're still going to, do they have any idea what they're donating?
I think they need some direction from us as to how much you're looking for. Sounds good, but I think they kind of want to know, do you want? Well, no, I think they really want to know if you're going with Martin's design. Are we going to divide it up into the sections? I think there was a section for a piece of equipment, another section for a piece of equipment. Martin, if I'm incorrect, would you please correct me? But they also talked about doing something something that you could do one big unit and then build from that and add on as you have money if you want to go that direction. Do you want to go to where it's all kind of natural, you know, the equipment that is kind of native, since the trees and shrubs that we're doing is kind of a natural, they're all native to the area, so are we going for that lodgy rustic feel, I guess, maybe? I don't know, what do you call that when it's playground equipment? That's what you call it when it's furniture. I mean, do we want that mountainy feel, or are we going with red, yellow, green, blue? I mean, I think they need direction as to what you're thinking. We have money. We have to have decisions, I guess.
So I guess we need to decide.
Use the microphone.
If we ever decide to move, flip the playground and do the barbecue pit somewhere else,
We didn't make a decision.
so that's what you're saying. That's what we need to do. Now,
That's what I would do, but I think the last thing I heard was Carly and Rick were having a conversation. Did y'all ever have your conversation? Did you come up with a place? Say yes, please. I mean,
Is that my only answer? I can't answer that now.
it's not a yes, no. Did y'all come up with a possible place?
What I'm concerned about is that I've already made a Freedom of Information request through Kelsey and yourself and this council for all the information about this project, and I did not have any of what you're talking about.
I showed you what I had.
You showed me what you
Yes,
had.
I showed you what I had, and Kelsey, I think, even seen
I
a
have
copy.
never seen the budget for it, et cetera, but Donna, you know, my answer is no as far as Rick was going to take it back to the planning commission. Telia was at the meeting, and he was going to try to work with Martin's behind, I guess he's over there still.
Can I make a point of information about the
Yeah.
master plan as it relates to what we're
Hey, if
talking
you
about?
there's no microphone. Hey, you can borrow my microphone. I can get that. Mine works, I know. There's no microphone.
Yeah. You done?
We need to approve it more time. Harold, can he use your microphone for a second so he can be heard? Can we do a motion to let him pull it out?
For those of you that don't know me, my name is Martin Haber. I'm a landscape architect. I'm a resident of Cannon County, not the city of Blue Ridge, and I've been involved in the master planning process since March or April. And I'd like to clarify that the information that is available today is a draft of the master plan. The City Council has not responded or acted on that information. So what we have today is the information available, and I assume that's what you've been given.
And actually, all you have are the drawings for the playground, trees, shrubs, fence, those kind of things, not actual playground equipment.
Correct.
So if that's the budget you're looking for, I don't think we know how much the council feels like can be recycled in our playground equipment, because some of it can be, some of it's in good shape, but there's some of it that doesn't need to be used again. But I think we need to be able to add to our equipment. We want to add a special needs piece. That's what we talked about all along, and I'm hoping we're still thinking that, because that's one of the things that really
And there
is
is
needed.
a tremendous range of expenditures that can be, when you're talking about playground equipment, it's very expensive, first of all, but there are a tremendous amount of options and ways to budget that.
And one of our big expenses is because we need to get the ground in good shape, because right now we have a terrible time with grass there and things like that.
And drainage.
And drainage. And that's a very expensive piece of it. So we actually have the funding for that piece already in place. That's the grant money with the foundation that we already have for our trees, shrubs, drainage, fence, those kind of things. But the the two things we don't have in place are playground equipment,
And then the surfacing.
the surfacing, and what about what we're going to do with the barbecue grill? How we're going to do that? Am I correct? Is there anything I'm missing? And where the council, what they, the council may say, we have a ton of kids playing down there. We need to spend more than we were thinking we were going to spend. Or I don't know. We need some kind of direction.
Maybe we need to get everybody to the table and have one big discussion at the same time.
Well, I think that would be good, but I think it's, are we going to try to come up with a date and a time? And I don't think Kiwanis can do anything till the council says, we're looking for $300,000 worth of equipment, or we're looking for $100,000 worth of equipment. I mean, I think that's what they're kind of wanting to plug that number into their grant. So if they put $300,000 and you're only thinking you're going to buy one piece of equipment, they probably don't want to look bad. They have to change it and put it back down to $50,000.
Well, maybe we can get some dates, call maybe next week or the week after. Because the week after we'll probably get into Thanksgiving. So.
I don't think people would care if we got into Thanksgiving. I think people are everything's kind of happened in the park except light up lures will be our next big thing. So, I mean, it's going to be wintertime, so everything's going to be ready anyway. So it's every time we just tear up and do whatever we're going to do. And the equipment, several pieces need to come down, like I said, to be sandblasted and painted anyway. So, I think it's just a matter of y'all deciding that money is there. How much do you want to put into playground equipment? So if everybody can get some numbers together, I think Martin's always willing to meet. He seems to always be available. He's always been agreeable to meet with me when I've asked him. So who else wants to meet on it?
I'll meet. There will be Carly, Nick, and Martin.
And Donna, I'd like to answer what Rick and I came up with, if that's something.
I think now's a good time to say it. We're talking about it, so I know that.
Rick was our executive board, and nobody else was there but Rick.
Do you need that, Carly?
Yes, probably. Sorry, girl.
Thought you were louder than that.
Watch it now. I have a tough attitude. So that's it. I don't know if you can hear me better this way. I think so. Rick LaRosa met with our executive board and some of our team members, and we discussed the plan. The only plan we had was the schematic that was drawn by Marvin for the playground. We discussed it quite a bit. The idea of moving the playground from one end of the park to the other is really what causes the barbecue pit to be, quotes, in the way. We also took Rick down to the pit. Maybe a week or so later, we made an appointment, brought all the guys that cook, showed him what our real footprint is for Labor Day barbecue, because we do take up from the bathrooms and that whole area. Because initially he was thinking about putting or building a barbecue grill down in the park, where in the corner. And at the end of the meeting, he didn't even want to walk our guys down there because he said he had to come back and talk to the Planning Commission. There's not so much room for what we do in that area. Now, I understand the council has received information that this year, 2015, that we did not use the barbecue grill, and I do want to correct that, because we cannot cook 3,000 or 4,000 pounds of meat any other way than on that 40-foot grill. So that's misinformation. We do have a lot of pieces of equipment down there that we hold there's a big cooker, it's a hot box, we call it. All that meat is kept in there, but it's not cooked in there. We have a grill to make, a smoker to smoke the butts, and we have a 40-foot grill. This has been going on for 35 years. This is something that really helps pay bills for people who are in need, including water bills, not to threaten that we're paying the water bills for the city, but we do a lot of good work, and there's a lot of churches involved. I know some of you think I'm not qualified to lead Labor Day barbecue. I would, welcome welcome any volunteers that want to step up to the plate to do that. It's a 35-year proposition. It is a walk, not so much for me for building my business per se, but it is a walk for treating people the way they should be treated. I don't think that Rick had the scope of what we do. I don't think Rick understood the volume and the area and the footprint that we make when we do it. Granted, it's one time a year. We are also not the only people that use that ground. So that's a contrary thing to try to overcome. But I will tell you that Rick did not want to walk down to even show us the part he had, that they were talking about putting the grill in the park. He wanted to go back to his team and talk about it. That was the last time that we talked with him. I had, Antonio was in Virginia. He was there by phone. Richard, we had 4 or 5 guys there, and myself. So that, I think we spent probably an hour and a half in the park walking it through and showing the footprint. I would like to know how many people in this room have ever been to Labor Day barbecue. I mean, so you should, I just think Rick didn't really, he came and served a year or two, but he didn't really see the whole operations. So I want to be in those meetings. I don't see a reason to move the barbecue pit. I don't see a reason to fill that section of the park up with plants and with walkways and with other exercise stations when you have so many other places in the city that would benefit from it. And I have about 15 or 20 years in grant writing experience. You can always put a change in a grant when you put it in there. It does not have to stay exactly as it's submitted. I requested from Kelsey, under Freedom of Information Act, all of the information that was presented about to the council and to the mayor about this project, and I really did not get much information at all. And I'm hearing there's a budget, I'm hearing there's other stuff, I'm hearing there's public commentary, there's all this other stuff that was collected. I don't have it. And under Freedom of Information request, when you ask for things related to a project, the expectation is that you're going to have them.
Yeah, I think it was in the master plan PDF. Maybe she didn't realize it was in that because that was one piece that they looked at too. I mean, they looked at the downtown area, the depot, and all of that. But the drawing, we had the drawing here. I think you saw it when we had
to make the smaller copies. Yes.
Yeah, I think that drawing is included in that, and I think there's a budget with it too. But
no, John, I'm just saying all I have was the drawing back and very little. It doesn't include any.
There's only about 4 pages.
Well, it doesn't include the email correspondence where, I'm called out for not being Christian. It doesn't include a lot of the things that are communicated between the council and the mayor. So I just have to say I've been up front. I've been here March, April, May, June, July, every number of meetings I have attended. And I've been up front and I haven't had anybody come back and ask me a question. So
I don't think I sent you any emails.
Oh no, I'm talking about emails related to the project.
Okay.
And I don't know if that's not something that the council's willing to share, but I am not
I don't think they have a problem sharing it. I don't know that they knew that you would, and I don't know that there's really a whole lot of emails, because I think when Bobby and I even talked about it, it's been in the phone or by person, pretty much, or either down there at the side. So I'm not sure that there are a ton of emails, but maybe we'll look.
I mean, emails related to master plan, and that's what the Freedom of Information request contains, so that's what it includes.
Okay. Kelsey, you heard everything, so you will get her what she's looking for?
Kelsey, I asked her already, Donna, she doesn't have access to the council emails. So,
yeah. Can you give us a specific list of what she's wanting for, I guess, the master plan? Any emails on master plan? Any emails?
The master plan as it stands and as it has stood for so many months desperately impacts the operations of Good Samaritan. I think that message has been communicated. So my request for information about the master plan is only to be able to rebut it, to be involved, to say this is why it's important and this is why we need it. I don't have that response from the council, from the master plan. We were very pleased that Rick agreed to meet with us. And that was, that was several hours out of his time, and we appreciate it. But we haven't had any feedback since then.
Okay. And that's another reason it's on here, because I haven't gotten any either, and I didn't know how your last meeting went with them.
We actually had 2, Donna, and they went well. Okay. I think he got a better feel for what we were talking about and what our needs were. Now, I don't know, nothing's changed that I know of, or nothing, has changed. So I was very surprised to see Downtown Park on the agenda, so I had to come to make sure that It's not going to be rubber stamped to just do that without input from the board.
No, I think what I'm asking for is, because last meeting, I asked for somebody to figure out what we wanted to do on the street out of the master plan.
I wasn't here, I'm sorry.
So I think I'm just trying to piece this together too. Tell me what you like, tell me what you don't like. Do you want new playground equipment? Do you not want playground equipment? Because we're getting to the end of the year. We do have some people that want to donate some money, but I really hate to ask anybody else for any money in case I'm going to turn around and give it back to them. Because I was kind of thinking that might have to happen with the Bond Foundation, and I really hate to turn that money.
Oh, no, I understand that. I understand that.
And you know.
I mean, if there's a consideration that can be made, leave the playground where it is, leave the park open, not have so much plantings and sidewalks and different things in there that it impacts use of that facility. Because although it looks like we have a lot of green space in town, that's the only green space that there is.
Well, actually, the grant or the foundation money that we got is for plants and trees and shrubs and things like that. That grant is
I understand
not
that's
for playground equipment.
No, I understand.
It's for horticulture.
Two things. One is Kiwanis would be glad to leave the playground wherever it is, or give you money wherever you put the playground.
Mm-hmm.
I'm saying to put the playground, leaving the playground where it is with already shade trees, etc., makes more sense once you fix the drainage problems that we mentioned before. To move the playground to the other end invalidates the structure that's there for a stage, which was used again for Bliss and Barbecue, and it moves the barbecue pit for no reason. We don't want to go to the farmer's market to answer that question. If that's still a question, I think I've answered that. But to take that only green open space where people can walk animals and do things away is what I'm objecting to. And that's not just me, Donna. It's a lot of the groups that use that and people that use the park. So that part is an issue. If you need to hear from more people, we can do that.
I think we're needing to have the meeting with Rick, is what I believe. And because you don't have the information, I suppose you. Okay, so I think Rick, the meeting between me, Rodney, and Rick, and whoever else wants to attend needs to happen in yourself.
Okay.
And they need to decide if we're going to move forward with purchasing some more equipment, what kind of equipment you like. You have those playground books. So somebody needs to say we like plan A, plan C, whatever out of there. So I don't really care. The kids are going to want some kind of swing back. I do think that's going to have to be replaced.
Am I excused?
Oh, yes. But we do need to make a decision. We're going to either have to move forward or give the money back. So just want everybody to be aware of that. So we're going to table that too, I'm assuming.
Yes.
Until next time. So can somebody make a motion?
I'll make a motion we table until we have a meeting with everybody involved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Yes.
Okay, guardrails for city streets. We had gotten a quote. We have a couple of areas that we need to put some guardrails in. One is one that we talked about a long time ago, right above the BP station. There's an area there that we've looked at. We thought we were getting guardrail, but I guess we didn't ever get in. So we need there, and we have another area by the, just out from the trailer restaurant there. There's a new house that's been built, and the previous owners of that property have had cars in their yard, but not in the house before. So he's building a new house and would like to make sure that no cars are sitting in his bedroom back there, I guess. So we got a quote. It's not in there?
No. We got a verbal quote from Martin Robbins, and it was $2,700.
For both areas.
Does that include installation?
No, that would be us installing it.
And we would actually have to go to this place, which is in Snellville, and pick it up.
Okay, I think, Kelsey, that was for one of them. I think did he get your report back on the second? I think it's about $4,500 total for both places. And he needs to pick up both while he's going because you're going to have to take a truck. So no need to go down and get part of it and not get all of it. So.
front of us are not a cheaper solution as far as, I mean, you probably put up some 6x6 posts, I think, and stuff like carbon going in there if they're concreted in.
That's what I'm suggesting.
I've seen a lot of places do that.
We have, several years ago, Don and I met with GDOT on the same issue, even at BP. There's a lot of liability
So
with that.
that's a bad spot there.
Yeah, I don't know if I've gone off there, but they say, you know, if you're going to put a guardrail in, you need to use the appropriate material. Because if not, you're setting yourself up for a huge liability.
GDOT's going through that with some other guardrails. They're having to replace them. There was a big thing on the news about it. So, they're both bad places. There's been 4 cars go off by that, go off into that yard.
Do we have anybody that needs to put to it? That's the next question.
Actually, they said with the state that they would help us with that if we just got the guardrails, that they would actually assist us with that. That was probably 2 years ago. So I mean, yeah, it's been a while.
If not, I'm sure the county will help us out, and they've done guardrails. So I don't think it's a matter of getting somebody to help us. I think they'll help us. It's a matter of getting the equipment here, I think, because you've got to travel to pick it up.
So we're going to quote.
There's only like 2 in the state of Georgia that actually do those. That's the closest one. Everyone is below Macon. And that was told to me by one. I think there was only 2. I don't know that. I've not researched them. But I don't think there's a lot of companies that do it. But I do think there's more than $2,700 left. I think it's about 75 for both places.
Well, I know we need them. I mean, it's especially, you know, BP, that's one that's been on radar for a long time, so.
Yes, you may actually not.
Yeah, we had a fatality there.
So do I have a motion?
I make a motion to move forward with the quote for, I guess originally $2,700, that covers.
Are you doing both places or are you doing one? Why don't you?
Do we need to clarify?
You want to do one place or both to buy the equipment?
I'll make a motion to move forward with placing guardrails at both locations. I would assume the quote would be 27, but if it's not, then we give authority to give to double that if we have to. So.
Do I have a second? That's true.
Strange motion.
All in favor? Budget.
I had added this, I was looking, you have to release about the budget, and she sent us an email, and it looks like we're at 75% for the third quarter, September 30th, and in the third quarter, we're already at 75%, and I know we have a lot of items on the budget. One being the item that John had talked about earlier, the tag readers, which would be $20,000, and there are just a lot of expenses right now that I'm concerned about with the city. Attorney bills, it seems like our attorney bills have gotten way out of control. And I'm just wondering how we can kind of get control of some of the expenditures within the city that are unnecessary. You know, one thing with our attorney, we have a lot of people contacting him, and in the past we had talked about having one representative from the city, assumably the mayor, who would actually contact the attorney to ask questions on behalf, so all council members aren't constantly calling or emailing him, just to help get that under control. That's probably one of our biggest budgets that we're going over this year. So I want to see if you guys have any suggestions about that.
Well, I talked to Alicia myself, and actually the budget is,
Microphone.
The legal expenses for just the regular administrative things is around about $38,000, and the budget's $40,000.
Yeah,
We still got 2 months to go.
Those outside of the regular, maybe that's causing it.
Right, the lawsuit, I think, is around about 35, so
I think it is.
the normal is may go over some, but it just really depends. So it's pretty much going to be about normal, other than the lawsuit.
Well, not just the lawsuit, though. You've also got the investigation where the attorney said it's going to be tens of thousands of dollars. And I know you told somebody that it was 10,000, but they said tens of thousands. So
The contract says that, it does.
it says tens of thousands in the. So you could be going way over budget. So where's that money coming from if we've only got 25% left?
The same place the lawsuit money's coming from, because that wasn't in the budget either.
Well, and I know that you've made the statement that I caused the lawsuit. My veto did not cause the lawsuit. The decisions made by this council caused the lawsuit. I was removed from the
The
lawsuit.
decision by the council was legal. Your veto was
Then
unauthorized.
why are we in court? If it's
Ask
legal.
David that.
If it's legal.
It was legal. We had the authority to make the decision, yes or no.
But, I mean, you're saying that that's what's causing us to go over.
We'll read the email that David sent out, because I questioned him about that, if the veto cost any money. And he said, yes, it did. So if you want to get an exact number, then I can get him to do that too.
Okay, but then by you making your decision, how many thousands of dollars did that cost?
Well, it's a decision that we rightfully can make. And anybody can sue.
They can.
So, I mean, that's just a chance you take with any decision you make.
Anybody can sue, but, we still
Zoning
should be
decisions
doing.
are made anytime there's a zoning decision, it's the council makes that decision. They're within that right to do that, and the person that's requesting the rezoning has got the right to sue if they don't like the decision.
Mm-hmm. But it's not based on the decision, it's based on the actions. I mean, the city's been removed from the lawsuit. So I don't know why this is still costing us money on the city's behalf when the lawsuit is just the three of you now, and you have an attorney through Irma, and we're still paying attorney's fees to David Sullivan because we're out of it.
Does David, that's I guess my question, does David need to be involved in that lawsuit? Do you guys feel
Well,
like
because unless it's removed, the city's removed. There is a suit against the city, unless that's removed.
We've been removed from that suit.
No, I don't think so.
It's a personal suit against the three of you.
No, that personal suit was a second lawsuit. It was dropped and then put in with the city.
No, it wasn't. No, it wasn't.
Well, just check with David and to find out.
Well,
That's my
it's been a lot of expenses. We've actually started budgeting more for legal expenses. Some of our other expenses are getting out of hand too, but that one is getting to be.
Well, I mean, I agree. If GMA can take care of it, then that's what needs to be done.
Well, maybe we need to see if GMA can take care of the other part too. The part that's the city's at this point.
that might be good? And that way it's taking, this is, it's turning into a very expensive.
Okay, so I guess I'm back to the same question. Where's the money coming from? If we're at 75% and we're at September 30th at 75%, we've got 25% left. That's our last quarter. So we're going to go over.
Well, I'm just going to plan on a couple of things here. First of all, the lawsuit was not in the budget. Now that's been in February. The other thing that wasn't in the budget that was a big expense when the election was taken over by the county.
This year, right?
No, but I'm talking about. We're talking
But
about.
that
you're
was
talking about-
also a person that said that they intended to lie to all of us also. Remember the statement? Remember there
But
was
you
a
went
report.
against the city attorney advice that it could be handled. So it resulted
went
in
against
costing the
it?
city $35,000, and it was not in the budget. That's the point I'm trying to make. That wasn't in the budget. This investigation is in the budget. The lawsuit's not in the budget. So
So do you think that we had an election that was going south and we should have not done anything?
It was going south?
It was going south because she had made some errors and she had made the statement she was
instructed
going
on-
to lie.
She was instructed on how to correct the error. And the way she corrected it was actually the right way. The county did not correct it the right way.
That's debatable. Marion Connor says she has never been told to ever dispose of the ballot.
That's just what the city attorney's email said.
And you know, you can also look at the fact that the city attorney, Sally got a slap on the hand.
She didn't get a slap on the hand.
She's getting written up.
She's not.
She's getting something back.
I've got the letter.
Well, I'm glad you've got it because none of the rest of us have it. Would you like to share that with us? How did you get a letter and the rest of the city didn't?
Actually, Sally gave it to me.
But the one thing that was not mentioned when she went to court or went to before the Attorney General's office was the fact that she told everybody she lied. That was never mentioned.
I wasn't at the hearing. I was not at the hearing. I'm sorry, I didn't bring it with me. But I read the letter and it didn't, there was no reprimand. There wasn't even instructions of, the city attorney said that they said that she needed, if she was going to continue in that position, that she needed to have further training, but it does not say that in the letter.
I think the city attorney was originally when the investigation, actually everything was resolved, sent out through letter. I think you received one, Donna. I actually got a copy from you. But David was also, he was slapped on the wrist by the State Board of Elections, but then he said because he has attorney privilege, they dropped that. So of course, David himself actually was reprimanded verbally in the letter by.
Actually, that was withdrawn because they didn't even have they didn't even have a solution themselves. The election board didn't. So they can't.
I think that's not really in this year's budget, so that's not what we're actually off topic.
Well, I'm making a point. So if you want to talk about lots of things, are not in the budget. It's not in the budget, so.
Okay. So anything else on the budget, Rhonda?
Now I'd just like for everyone to be thinking about how we're going to address these issues, and especially with the attorneys and just expenses that are really, I think at this point, just like possibly the tag rate or things that we don't really have money for right now in our current budget. So we're going to have to really become more conservative. And we've spent, I think last week we voted to spend probably how many millions of dollars, which we need to do with East Main Street and of course our water projects, everything, but $5 million. So we really got to start looking at ways to conserve and overall. That's all I have.
Do you want a motion to table or do you want to bring something back for a question? Okay. Number 16, expenditures.
That was really the same thing. I was just actually going to discuss different things we need to really look at before we purchase that are not in the budget. That was it.
I want to mention something. Alicia had sent an email. I think she did it by email, actually. I think she did it just in your little packet, where she talked about the different amounts of money you had. And one of them is hotel motel. She did email it to you too. I did talk with, Caesar's going to love me, Mark Slade, who does the trailer bathrooms today, and he actually has a couple of houses here in Fannin County, and he had given me just a little bit of information about those, because I know we've discussed a possibility of having some excess bathrooms, a possibility of if we're going to tear down that bathroom, what are we going to do for restrooms at that point. But he gave me a price on like a 10 to 12 foot, which is a really small one. It's a 2-stall. They're like $12,000 to $15,000. A 15 to 18 foot is a medium size. It has 3 to 4 women's, 2 sinks, 4 stalls, 2 sinks, 1 to 2 men's stalls, and 3 urinals and 2 sinks, and those are around $50,000. A 32 foot, a large one, is 7 women and 3 sinks, 3 stalls, 2 urinals, 2 sinks. So he gave me some numbers if we were purchasing one, and the reason I asked him to do that was because I thought even if we're tearing down that bathroom, we could have it for a longer period of time. Then we talked about having a restroom down at the other end of town, so I thought it might could be moved to that end of town by the public restrooms, and then if we ever want to build it, once we fix the storm drainage and all of those things, get all the asphalt put back, we might want to build a structure there, and then maybe we just use it for events. When we have all these extra events, we're bringing in porta potties, so this would be able to be used for the events. You can also lease one. They're over $500 a month, up to $500 a week. I'm sorry, up to $1,500 a week, depending on how large. But it almost makes more sense to go ahead and purchase something than to spend that kind of rental. That could be $2,000 to $6,000 a month. Before long, you'd have one purchased. Caesar's smiling. You can move them. And he said you can have them built, and he's happy to bring one up. And I said, would you bring it before Light Up Blue Ridge, for sure? But anyway, he can help us contact some of the companies to have one built, whatever. So I don't know if you're interested in trying to come up with a solution there. It's the only solution I have at this point. And there's always a line at the bathrooms.
Can I say something? I was talking to Jan. The estimated number of people lodging here is about 225,000 people this year. Next year, they'll probably go to about 250,000. Something about, he said 90% of those people full come downtown. I don't think those bathrooms would never handle that kind of crowd.
I don't think anybody here would disagree with you. I don't think those bathrooms were meant to handle just a small crowd.
So I would challenge you guys to spend one Saturday by that bathroom and ask those people lined up what they think you should spend the money on. I guarantee you get your answer.
If you order one of these, they're 10 to 12 weeks to be built. But you do have some money in your hotel motel that you could probably...
Much to the, when we built the park, and there's Taney's helped on that, what was the cost of that?
Or maybe a little more than that.
I think it's 20 or 30.
Yeah, I think that's close.
Well, just in my mind, in talking to Alicia about what we've got a little over $600,000 in SPLOST, which we can spend on the street and the drains. We've got the $400,000 for the marina. That's $1 million. We've still got LMIG 2014, 2015, maybe $75,000. We'll get 2016. We've got hotel motel. I was thinking we were going to have almost $100,000 between 2014 and 15. That seems like enough to me to do the streets, the drains, and the bathroom, but maybe I'm just out of touch with what things cost, but that's pretty good money.
You're looking at Main Street probably being between, it's probably going to be $1.5 million. Probably $1 million to $1.5 million.
You know, when Messer Street to Mountain Street cost $77,000, I did not see.
We didn't engineer.
Okay, if you didn't engineer it, why are we pressing to engineer the other?
You've got new stuff down there. You've got new buildings. You don't have the same problems down there. You've had some problems, but they're not like they are up there. You're not built out over top of buildings. That's one of the things. But $1 million to $1.5 million. So that's just that. We know that storm drain over on West Main is about $750,000. We know that.
Well, that's one price. I mean, yeah,
That's just an estimate. That's from the engineer. He didn't price the project. It might come in at $600,000. It might come in at $850,000. But he's giving you his best estimate. He's priced the pipe. He's priced the footage and things like that. He knows about what the going rate is.
And I think talking to Matt, his thoughts were trying to pipe it all the way down to where it goes under 515. If that would be allowed, you don't know if it's going to be allowed. He's going to have a meeting with EPA, the Corps, and find out if they would even allow that. Because everything, they don't look at it stream by stream as being a trout stream. They look at it as the watershed. And so they consider, since that's in the watershed from Toccoa, that everything in the watershed is trout stream. So.
But wouldn't it be best, instead of spending that kind of money, to start where we had this, we discussed this before, around Rhonda's place, that pipe is smaller. Address that, fix that, and that may, and clean the things out, and that may fix it.
Well, you got a 3-foot pipe right there, I
Well,
believe.
Matt said that would help. He said one of the main issues is in front of Mr. Ryan's place, that pipe that goes out of that drainage coming down, that's one of the main areas that it bottles up in. He said that it would help if we went down and were bottlenecking the big pipe and added a section. He said he still has to have that conversation with the Corps and EPD to see if they're even what they're going to let them do there before we can do anything.
You don't only have the Corps and EPD involved, you also have private property owners too. So you can't go down there and just dig it up and make a bigger pipe in behind Rhonda's, or not Rhonda's, Davies and Al's building. I mean, you've got to get approvals from both the Corps and the EPD and the private property owners. So it's going to be a complicated little fix.
But he said that if we could change the bottleneck down, that it would alleviate some of the problem. But he said that pipe that comes from across from Mr. Ryan's down is a problem all in itself. So I mean, we would still end up probably having to change that at some point.
It's 4 foot at Junior Mason's property right there where the gym is. I think that's a 4-foot pipe, 48-inch pipe.
He said it tapers down a couple.
Yeah, it's 4 foot right there. So you're going from, I don't know how big that one is under the road. It's huge. You can almost walk through it. So you're getting that water, plus you're getting water off of the other side of the street. And, you know, if you're going to have to go to 2 7-foot pipes, and we've only got a 3 foot and a 4 foot right in there, you're seeing why it's bottlenecking.
Well, that's where it starts private property. That was an open ditch, from my understanding, before, and so it's been closed in at some point, and they probably put the wrong size pipe in. And that's where.
And then you've had all the property built out on the upper part of the street, so you have no, you don't have any grassy space. You don't have anything to absorb the water.
But back to Caesar's question, the bathroom. What do you guys think on that?
250,000.
Yeah.
My question is, he says he will bring one up for us to look at. Do we want to talk to him about leasing one till we can buy one? Or do we want to just go ahead and talk about purchasing something? Do you want to build something else somewhere? The only problem, we know we need to build one down at the public parking, but you don't want to build it and tear it up. You don't know where the pipe's going to need to go at this point. You know, kind of close, but
Got one right now. If we bought one right now, where would you put it? Right there by the.
I'd put it at the depot. That's where I'd put it.
Where the lines are the longest.
But I know. But I mean, you've got the existing building there. You can't block off where they bring buses to. So where there would it go?
You would have to turn it sideways where we were going to build the building over next to the sidewalk.
Okay.
Yeah.
So could you ask me to bring it up, you want us to do that?
Yeah, now I don't think he would sell what he's bringing. We might could lease it through some period of time or
We'll
something.
be able to get it cheaper if it's a deal.
And we could ask him that. But I think the two things I need, how much are you willing to spend? That'll decide what size he can bring. And do you want to lease or do you want to purchase something? I think you could use it for events. Just like Halloween, Arts in the Park, they're always renting the porta potties up by Ted Weaver. You could move this up there once you build your bathrooms.
And you lease that one for right up to the roof to see what you think about it.
Well, that's what I said. I thought he might do it free, but he didn't offer the free part.
And would you have to get a septic company to service it, I guess?
You would,
Or I guess you could hold it if you had a dumping station done with it.
And he said if we built one and we knew we were going to be able to hook it up near sewer and be able to have a sewer line connection, that we might not even want to put a tank on it. But that if we knew we were going to use it in areas where we're not going to have a sewer connection, we'd need a tank. But us being the city, we should be able to have a sewer connection anywhere we want to.
So I'd say that's something we could probably talk to James about as far as, because I know the railroad has one down here by my house, and they just pull up and pump it off in there. So I mean, that might be something we could just pull up and have someplace to pump it into and pump it.
Or you could just put it straight into the line, just hook it up, just like a regular building.
Pump it into something. I don't think that would be an issue.
And I think I said the wrong, I think the medium size was the 15 to 18, but I think I said 50,000. I think that was more like 27 to 30,000. And then the 50,000 and up is the 32 foot. Keep in mind, the amount of money can be more if you go in and add extras and, kind of, if you want just kind of a basic one, you're staying in those price ranges. But if you want to add all the bells and whistles.
The OG has like a basic spec sheet that he can email us and we can look at it.
He does, but I think if he knew what, he could kind of get you a built as you wanted price. And he said he would send us whatever he had.
And he can stalls was the 50,000?
That's 7 women's, 3 sinks, 3 stalls in the men's, 2 urinals, and 3 sinks. 32 foot long.
If we could use it down there at the free parking, once we get the one there in town built.
Probably not supposed to ask this, but Caesar, how many bathrooms do we need extra?
I don't know, 30, 40?
I mean, if we did a medium size and you had,
People walking in and asking about the bathroom.
if you did the medium size and it was 3 to 4 women's and 1 to 2 men's and 3 urinals, is that going to be worth even doing? Yes. 27 to 30. The basic. And if you build it and have things added or whatever.
Because you still have bathrooms there too.
We do now,
That's
but
right.
if
But
we're
short.
redoing, we'll be tearing that down, so I really feel like we're going to have something.
Yeah, but when are you going to take it? Is there a plan? At least for the near future, you would have that plus that.
So even the larger one is movable. It's not.
They're all movable. You can Google it. You just put in portable bathrooms. They do them for events and things like that. They make some really fancy ones. I've seen ones with chandeliers and everything.
I think the install sounds better.
Well, I think everybody would be in agreement, but are we willing to spend that kind of money?
Well, if you didn't have to go back down.
Microphone.
I think it was in. I'm sorry. I think if we were going to build one down at the free parking anyway, the question would be, could we build it for $50,000? If not, then this would be. If we could use this, then.
Okay, so what about I get him to come up and talk to us about the medium and the large the next few days? And bring one with him, prepared to stay for free until we get a new one? I don't know. He's probably watching this. Everybody tells me about watching Feature News, so I'm not wasting his time. Medium to large? And the sooner the better? Should I just have him meet with Caesar?
No, you don't have to.
Okay. All right. Good. We'll do that tomorrow. And so we're going to pay for that hotel motel. Okay. My second question is there is a group that has asked, Trout Unlimited is talking about doing an event, and so they're going to actually probably come to us and ask for some help. I just got that call yesterday or the day before, so they're wanting to do some kind of trout thing, and we are the trout capital of Georgia, in case everybody doesn't know that.
Well, also, Alicia said there's $15,000 in the 2% unrestricted. I think she talked to Jan. Jan said that if we wanted to, of course, we got to go to the chamber anyway.
You can put your unrestricted and your restricted both in this happening. Because it's going to be for the tourism, it's to service tourism. So, did that answer?
All I was going to say is that we could give the $15,000 to the chamber, and then she could disperse it to the Trouts Unlimited if that's what you were.
You could do either one, or you can use it on your back end. You know, I don't know exactly how much money Trouts Unlimited wants at this point. So, all right, city property.
Actually, that's.
And do you want to add that back?
No, actually, I'm just putting in some material. So we'll, I don't really, our call council needs to be better.
But since you have that on there,
I can't hear Rhonda.
since you have that on there, though, I know some city property we do need to discuss is.
Fairly early. The road that goes into his house is actually a city street. It's Chastain Street, I do believe. And he has requested us to put gravel on it. It goes in and dead ends at his house. The right of way that we have goes on down the hill. And he just asked that either, we asked if we take care of it and put gravel on it. And it's probably about 80 feet. And that it's the first house in the old house.
So what's the question?
So he wants to see if put gravel on the actual street that is there and goes to his house. It's not his driveway, it's actually city right of way.
He did want that road closed at one time. He asked for that too.
Well, I don't know why he closed it because it goes up by his garage.
But he doesn't want us to let anybody go in behind there. I always ask that question.
Well, it just dead ends at the edge of, pretty much at the edge of his house there. And then there's a grassy area that was an old road that goes down and continues on. But that's just what he had asked for. Just that we could put some gravel on it and actually help keep the road safe.
So if it's a city road, we probably need to. But if the city doesn't want to upkeep it, then maybe give him the option of buying the property. Then he has to keep that.
Well, the thing about it is it goes further than him, I think. I don't know how far back in that goes. It goes two ways. It might even go up to the next street.
Some people in behind there.
So, I mean, it would probably be a load of gravel.
Voted on, but the biggest thing is if it's a city road. If it's a city road, then we do have to maintain it, I guess. If he uses it to get to his house.
I do know that he has, I think he has called several times and Bill has sent gravel in the past. I do know that.
I know they used to.
I know it has happened since I've been here because Bill had told me it was a city road.
Yeah, I know it happened a few years ago, but I guess it has stopped. Nobody's kept up with anything there. He was just asking for some gravel.
Well, I thought he wanted the road closed is what he told me. But he didn't want anybody to be able to enter there or go in there, so I didn't really feel like that we needed to gravel it if it wasn't going anywhere. I mean, right now I think he uses it kind of as part of his driveway.
Well, I mean, it goes right by his garage, and it, like I said, it dead ends at the corner of his house. There's still the right of way through there, so I mean, it's still hard to figure out.
And we've done it in the past, but not as, I mean, that's close.
I mean, it's just a lot of gravel. And it is a city street, so.
Right, the other thing on that is I know they're probably waiting on an answer. Angela Dorm sent us all an email about the lady that owns the old Gene Walker building.
Thank you.
Yeah. So whatever we need to do on that, we probably would, if it's going to sell it, we'll have to sell it to her, but we need to get, I guess, this appraisal done on it.
Need to do an appraisal and you ought to get the appraisal first so you know what the property's worth. So you're going to want to know. So do you want me to go ahead and call someone to do the appraisal?
I would.
Okay. So you don't want to do that in the form of a a motion?
I'll make the motion, go ahead and get an appraisal on the property at Old View Market.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
All in favor? Public comments, Eddie Acorn.
He just walked out.
Can you fix it, do you know how? Nancy Burns is the next one up there.
Coming in.
We're trying to fix the microphone.
You want me to start with that microphone?
If you want to try to use Harold's right here, I'm sorry, but she's trying to work on the other. She thinks it might just be a battery.
You can pull it
Pull it
out.
out. Pull it out of the stand.
May I, Harold? I appreciate it. Thank you, Honorable Council, gentlemen. Don't want to stand in front of the thing, I guess I better use it. Can you hear me all right back there?
No, talk into the.
No, get closer.
If you pull it out and hold it right here, we can hear you.
There you go.
Yeah, pull that finger out.
It can't, it's zip tied in.
It's zip tied right there.
Maybe that's good.
I am.
Oh, and my microphone's
And all
on.
the other rest of us are too.
Okay. Okay, can we try now? All right, I can hear myself here, so hopefully y'all can hear me good. All right. Thank you for the opportunity to speak before you. I appreciate coming in. My name is Eddie Korn. I'm an attorney. I'm from Hiwassee, Georgia, and Steve Setzer had asked me to sit in the meeting regarding city property. I had thought you had some issues to discuss, but apparently not, so I thought I would address the city. There has been some discussion in page reviews and at the council meeting that I was here in October about Steve and the lease and the Swan driving in particular. I wanted to come before you and address some of the comments that were made. Councilmember Ms. Thomas, you had questioned the validity of the lease and had made statements that you were going to have an attorney take a look at the lease. And you had made statements that you thought the lease should be voided or terminated, and that's what I'm here to address. Was the concerns that you had. I had hoped that if you had concerns, you would have brought them up so we could discuss it, but since not. The Swan Drive-In does have a lease on city property. A neighboring property owner has expressed some interest in acquiring a strip of land there. We are concerned with the attitude that some of the council members have taken about blatantly saying that the lease should be revoked, and that, well, we don't want to mess with it if that's the attitude that our city has. There is a provision in the lease that says property could be sublet. If anybody would like to make a proposal, we would certainly entertain that. Understand that it's only a small strip and not much land, and we would certainly be willing to be good neighbors. However, we will take no action that would jeopardize the existence of the lease that we already have. And you made a comment in the prior meeting that you felt the lease was invalid because it exceeded the term, and I thought I would go ahead and address that. There is a statute in Georgia that limits the term of contracts dealing with government functions. Those things that you're charged with doing as a government, the services that you provide. Yes, there is a limitation. There is not, however, a limitation on what's called proprietary activity of the city. So I'm using legal terms here, government function, proprietary activity. What is proprietary activity in layman's terms? Well, that means if you've got some extra property that you're not using for city purposes, okay, that you could lease it to another business. Extra property such as the Swan Drive-In that lays off the main streets, back out of the way. That's not a city park. It's not the water department. It's not your parking area. It's not your city houses or governmental buildings. It's surplus land. If governments could not lease surplus land, we wouldn't have golf courses and football stadiums and baseball stadiums and airports and things like that. Leasing surplus land is something governments do all around us. I can show you many contracts where surplus lands are rented for long periods of time. There's a question about the length of the time. Well, the length of the time is simply a factor of what you're renting. Well, it was undeveloped land when the city got it, possibly with the screen that was built. But other than that, there are no improvements. It's not on the main street. It's second off. Y'all know where the Swan is. I bet all of y'all have been there. Okay? The next question is, did the owner have to spend anything there? Is that taken into account? Well, yes, Steve has spent money there. Quite a bit. It's no longer reel-to-reel movie theaters that y'all may have grown up with, those residents here that have been here for a while. He had to upgrade. And so when he negotiated the lease with the prior council, those factors were taken into account. Hey, I'm going to have to spend some money here to upgrade to new digital technology. That's going to mean bringing in between power lines, investing in equipment, such as that. So he got the lease from the prior council and agreed to these items. It seems like a reasonable business decision to me. So I can tell you after reviewing the lease, after doing the research, in my opinion, as a Georgia practicing attorney, I can give you the case law to back it up. It is a valid lease. The city is not giving him one notice of any complaints, not one letter, not one, you're late, you're sorry, nothing. He has followed the lease to the T. We have gotten no request from the council in writing or anyone else to address this other issue.
I'll make a motion to give him time to finish this.
Do I have a second? All in favor? Sorry, you can continue.
Thank you, I appreciate it. I'll wrap up. The city has not raised any complaint directly to Steve Setzer through any type of formal communication at all. However, there have been ample interviews given in picture reviews and other local outlets, and I felt like this was the only place we could come and actually address what was going on to the people that I thought had a complaint. And if there's no formal communication, then I would simply ask that the harassment stop. And outlet interviews with half-truths or half-facts without addressing the real issues or opportunity to debate is just harassment. And there's no need for it in the city. And it's not coming to the people of Blue Ridge that I know. Thank you, Beth.
Who has given an interview? I'm not sure who you're talking about.
I do not know.
Yeah, I'm not sure either. I've never.
If you will give me time to get my laptop, I can bring up Picture News, and there's some quotes from somebody in there.
I think Angie's on Picture News quite a bit. It may have been her. I'm not sure.
Can I ask you a real quick question? Are you aware that and the reason I'm asking this, Jim Sisson is a really nice guy, and he's the man that wants to build the building there, and assumed it was his property until he actually had, I think, the builder come out, and he did a survey and found out that it wasn't his property. And there's a fence there, and I guess everybody just assumed the fence line was the property line. But several years ago, Heritage Pruitt Healthcare was doing some. They were wanting to add on to the nursing home that sits behind the property. So in doing so, there was a change in the land. I think they actually extended so many feet back and across the back part of his property. Does that sound right? It's on the back side. Would he be willing, and I've tried to talk to Steve, I've asked him to come in and talk to me so we can sit down and work out things. He doesn't really want to talk to me. But could we ever work out something where if we change the lines to move that to the fence line and put into his lease that other piece of property there that is not in his lease now, which is property he can use, because I think he had said he can use another road and put more people in there, is what I kind of understood, on the backside. And I could be wrong. I haven't looked at it, but I just know that they drew a new little section that was like 0.1.
We done a swap. They actually own the back portion there, and they came to us, and
but we got more land.
We found out that they actually had a building on their property, and they decided that they wanted to swap that for where their building was.
But we ended up with more land in the long run. It was like, it's about the same, if I'm not mistaken, it's like 0.11 of an acre, and I think Jim needs like 0.16.
The concern here, first, I'm not aware at all of the...
And I have the file. I'll be glad to share it with you, because there was an attorney that was out of Gainesville, I believe, that did that. But it would just be looking at the points and swapping those pieces of property, in my opinion. And I don't know why that can't be done.
The concern here is that if anything is done to put the lease before this council, we have no guarantees what this council is going to do. And so I cannot offer advice to my client to take a perfectly good and valid lease and put it in jeopardy. Okay? So that's what has to be addressed.
Okay. But did you see?
And I really don't blame you for that. I would not either. I mean, seriously, if I were paying $500 a month, I wouldn't jeopardize it either. I would just simply do what it said. Yeah.
We may find another alternative.
Actually, $535. It's true.
Okay.
Do you have a suggestion as to how to make it work? To where?
Possibly a sublease, because that's already in the lease. It doesn't need this council's approval.
And I'm not going to speak for Mr. Sisson, but I think since he's going to build an expensive piece of, or add to the building, I don't think he wants to sublease, unless in the sublease it could be at the end of the term, it's a purchase, or I don't know. I don't know.
We're not opposed to Mr. Sisson. I'm just not putting the lease back to vote.
And his building's actually only going to go 2 feet over the property line, and they still not have to be.
Property on the other side. I've even asked for if we can't let him go to the property line at least and not have a variance, since it's our property on the other side. It's not affecting a resident or something like that.
I know he's already got his building. He's ordered, and it's already in where I think it's over in his place. So, I mean, they said they could short it, but they're going to do a lot of modifications, and those things aren't engineered to be really chopped up a whole lot.
I thank you for your time.
Thank you.
May I approach? I'll leave you a business card and perhaps we can talk and find some solution.
Yeah, I mean, I would really like to help Mr. Sisson out.
Well, I just want to say I talked to Mr. Sisson, and it's my understanding that he's contacted Mr. Setzer, and they are in the process of working something out. That's the last I heard.
Yeah, well, they've been trying, I think.
Okay, thank you.
Nancy Burns.
I'm Nancy Burns, and I own Hampton Square. To give you a little background, Hampton Square was bought by my husband in 2002, and between 2002 and 2003, it was renovated. In 2003, we were given permission to erect a sign. It was a large sign in the grassy part running adjacent to the sidewalk in Mountain Street. In 2011, due to a windstorm, the sign blew down. I called the city and asked for permission to erect the sign again, and I was turned down. No reason was given, I was just turned down. So, Hampton Hampton Square has really grown in the last couple of years. And it's very difficult, even though we have room on the building itself for signs. It's very difficult when you have 10 to 12 tenants that they all can have proper signage that can be seen by the public. I've gone to the zoning board. I've been turned down 3 times. The reason being, one was that the sign, and I think it might be the package of the two different types of signs I wanted to erect. One reason was given that by Mr. Garner that it would set precedence, and I've also included pictures where precedence has already been set in the CBD district. The other reason for denying my request was that it would be a traffic hazard. We're very well aware that the DOT has no jurisdiction over the city of Blue Ridge. However, we've had someone from DOT say to us that they see no traffic hazard there at all. I feel that I should have been grandfathered in when the sign blew down in 2011. It had been up for 8 years. City never said anything. No one else ever said anything until I wanted to put it back up. And so I really feel we should have been grandfathered in, and I really feel that my vested rights have been denied as a building owner. So I would like the city council to, and I think there are other tenants here tonight that are going to speak, take into consideration and grant us approval to erect our sign there. Thanks, ma'am.
Thank you.
Me and Roy went and looked at all the signs. There is quite a few in town. I think we've got a bigger issue than granting or denying the current sign. I think that we actually need to fix it because there's about 12 of them in town in the commercial business district, and they're against the ordinance. Some of them look like they've been there for a considerable amount of time. Hotel Supply is one of those buildings, and it's right across the street from this road. Roy's suggestion was to actually fix it in the ordinance and do it correctly instead of just picking and choosing and saying we're going to take it case by case. So I would think, he said that he was going to get with you and Angie, and that he could have that ordinance ready for us in a short period of time if he could get with y'all two and get the suggestions in. I don't think we should put a Band-Aid on it. I think we should fix it. So that's my suggestion.
I agree with Rodney. We've talked about the sign ordinance for a long time, and I know Roy had some other concerns too with a couple of other things. And we've had it on the agenda numerous times, and then I think Mrs. Burns' situation actually kind of brought it to Roy's attention, and he wanted to do some more research at that point and asked me to not bring it back to the agenda for a little while. And now, the other thing that we do, or we think we know, and I think I actually came in one night when you were doing your, when you were with the zoning board. Do you have a permit? Did you get a sign permit?
I'm sure when Glenn did the reconstruction on that building, I'm sure that he did have a permit for that, but he is deceased, and I don't know where all of his papers are for that. I haven't run across it.
So you're saying that was 2002?
He bought the building in 2002, and between 2002 and 2003, he took that and renovated, and the sign went up in 2003. So I don't think the zoning had changed between 2002 and present day. I don't think it's changed anywhere in between there.
No, I don't think it has either. But you're not the only person that has told me they have a sign permit, but nobody's produced one. Kelsey, would you ask them to look through our receipt books from 2002 to 2003 and see if they find anything from Mr. Burns or any corporate name that he would have? And we could probably find out when water was turned on, or building permit or something, so just so that we researched on our end to make sure. If your husband has an old box from 2002 to 2003, if you would try to find that and look through it and see if you find anything. Because I've had a couple of these other signs that I've heard have permits, but I'd like for somebody to bring me some paperwork so we'd know. Okay. Thank you. So we'll look for that too. The next person is Butch Morton.
I guess we need to make a motion to table it since hers is requested.
Well, I think you've got 5 people speaking or 6. You want to let all of them speak first? So what were you wanting to do?
Just table it till we can get make a change on it, because I think it's bigger than just allowing Ms. Burns to sign.
So you need to
I think what you're saying is you are not opposed to that, but you just need to change the ordinance.
Yeah, the ordinance needs to be, about now we've got signs that do not comply with the ordinance.
Yeah.
And some of them were grandfathered in, but some of them were not, because they were built after the ordinance. So, but I mean, we can listen to what we got to say and then make a decision.
Well, and I don't think you have to. I think you need to get your information maybe back to Lori and come forth with a recommendation too. Maybe what they have to say. Do you still want to talk?
Yes, ma'am. We've been tabled, this will be 4 meetings we've been to. Meanwhile, back at the ranch, we've got business owners who are hanging on because they don't have the exposure that they need. This was a busy season for them. I'm blessed that we've got a business that's mostly word of mouth. We have the barber shop. But I'm watching tenants. In the 8 months we've been there, as of today, it was 8 months. I've watched one tenant come and go. I've talked with another one that had a banner. They told me that when the banner was, they told, had to come down, their business just stopped. They can't continue to pay their overhead if they can't make a living. And then this Ms. Burns that owns the building cannot pay the taxes on the building. We just got our business license for the second time. So there's money being spent. All we're asking, this is not an unreasonable request. And with all due respect, table. Listen, I know you don't have a tough job, but you seem to be tabling a lot of issues. All we're asking for is a sign that we can put up that if you were zone C2, there wouldn't be this discussion. But with the ongoing litigation next door, and that's another issue. That's not my battle. But with that, it was recommended that we just ask for a variance, and we did so. The first meeting we went to, it was split 2 to 2. One member was out. If that member had been there, possibly we'd have had it by now. Otherwise, we'd have been before you before then. We're only asking for a sign, a nice sign, and we'll work with you. But we need to know when people come down that street from that traffic light, talk about a safety hazard, turn over your left shoulder and look to see what's on the back of the building. We're just trying to run businesses here, good, legitimate businesses, and pay our taxes, and buy our business licenses. So tabling to me, I appreciate what you're doing. I really do. But we don't need it tabled any longer. We've lost all this time already, month after month after month after month. Please, let us build a sign. If there's some restrictions, some guidelines you want us to follow, that's okay. Well, we're good with that. But we need this sign. And I'm asking that you would please, don't table this one. Let us get back to our businesses, run them, and then y'all get back to the other businesses. Looks like you got plenty of it. Thank you.
Thank you. Kathy Green.
My name is Kathy Green. I'm a show owner.
Blue Ridge Barbershop, and I'm probably just going to repeat everything that's already been said. We went before the zoning board 3 times. We were denied. I'm a retired registered nurse. I was in healthcare for over 30 years in the business of helping people. I've never owned my own business, never had a desire to until we moved here and the opportunity arose that we could open a small, friendly barbershop in a small town environment. I have dealt with a lot of people, been on many boards, but I have never seen such inconsistency that was on that zoning board. You could have taken a hat and put cards in it with yes, no, maybe on it. Jiggled it around and thrown it out on the table. Because one time these two said yes, this one said no, this one said maybe. The next time these two no, well maybe, well no. And Mr. No was going to say no every time. I don't think he liked the way the sun came up that morning. I don't think he liked the way the sun comes up anymore. Because he was a definite no. The reasons we were given, a traffic hazard, come on. You know, I agree with Butch. And I asked them, I said, will you please travel on West 1st Street, turn onto Mountain Street, and tell me, can you see what's in the back of that building without doing a 90-degree turn? I was told with a hint of sarcasm, I drove as you passed, couldn't see anything for all of the trees. I don't think there's any trees there, there are some bushes. You know, I just don't get it. I was born and raised in Georgia. I've lived in a small town. I don't want all of this enormous big change either. We just want to run our business and promote it, as I think we have the right to do. Where the sign was there, the one we will replace it with is going to be a better sign. It will be well built. It will be well designed. And I don't think that we're being unreasonable. As far as the traffic hazard, I don't think there were any accidents right there in front of that. I don't think that's the precedent's already been set. There's one down on Main Street. And I know that I'm saying exactly what everybody else said, and the next two are probably going to say the same thing. And again, I'm with Butch, we've been table. We have a business, we would just like to promote it, and well-built, well-designed sign is going to look a whole heck of a lot better than a bunch of signs and banners out everywhere. I came up the other day, and my God, across from Brown Speed and Cedar were 2 cement blocks with a hand-painted phone blocks for sale. And I thought, geez, they let that happen, but they won't let us erect a nice sign. You know, but they can put 2 cement blocks out and a handwritten sign on a piece of wood. And that's okay. And at one of the meetings, I asked, because we were told that we couldn't erect the building, I said, well, what are you going to do to all the others that are around? But there are numerous all around Blue Ridge. We took pictures of them. I said, what are you going to do? Go make them take theirs down? Oh, no, we don't have anything to do with that. We don't police that. So what's fair? Come on. You know, I'm just asking that you be fair. We're not asking for a whole lot. We just have a small business that hopefully one day we can lift our grandkids. And that's all we want is just a sign to promote our business. Thank you very much, and I agree I wouldn't have your job for anything.
Hey, Johnny, do we know, Ms. Burns did have a sign there before. Are you aware of any accidents because of the sign, the visibility?
No, ma'am.
Okay. Can you double check that to make sure that, okay. Let's see. Geneva Smith?
Hi, I'm Genevieve Smith. I'm the owner of Cabin Chic, and I'm actually the tenant that Butch mentioned earlier. I had a sign, I had a banner out in front, and ever since I took it down, business has dropped off the map. So the sign for us is crucial. The direction that traffic comes is really from Main Street, and that's where we want to put our sign. So we're just really asking, we're trying to hold on, but people don't know we're back there on that back side, And this last weekend, I was told to take the banner down. And this last weekend, I decided, well, I'm just going to put it up temporarily in the front just to try it. And sure enough, I was slammed busy because people knew. They saw the sign, and I had traffic in and out all day long. So we're just really asking you to consider, because it has been tabled 3 times before. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Smith. Robert Ford.
Hi, how you doing? My name is Bob Ford, and my wife own Don's Country Crafts and More. And we want the sign erected because people, they don't know what we are. And we'll give, upstairs, downstairs, we'll tell, where the businesses are in the building. And, there was no other accidents with the other sign, so why would this be a problem with this sign here? So, we come from Connecticut, we came down, we started a business, and, we just wanted a fair shot at it. And it seems like, our sign that we have now is where you really can't see it, because that's the only place where we can put it. And so with the bigger sign, we might have a better chance of getting more people to where we are. Because Blue Jeans is here, you have to walk through Blue Jeans, buy Blue Jeans on the deck, and go through that door. And that door, you cannot see inside of it because of the reflection. So people don't even know, they could be standing at Blue Jeans and look at the door, but they can't see through the door. So we open the door, but in wintertime, we're not going to be able to do that. So, with a sign that can direct people, okay, 2nd floor, we're there, businesses like Genevieve and, the other businesses that are there. And then on the 1st floor, we'll tell good direction. So, that's what we're asking. So, thank you very much.
Thank you. The Blue Ridge Business Association, Caesar.
Hello, thanks for seeing me. Just to give you a little update on what's going on in the Business Association. Last month, Business Association meeting, we did a speaker for safety for the businesses downtown, shoplifting, that type of thing, and it was very well accepted. People learned a lot about how to make their businesses safer, so we're going to plan on doing some more of those going forward. Say So was fabulous. I don't know if any of you were downtown. You were. I know we're just judging you. I think the police estimated
A bunch.
a bunch. I think I heard somewhere between 3,000 and 4,000 people downtown. So biggest one I think we've ever had. It just keeps getting better, and I want to thank the city for everything you did to make that happen. We are going to sponsor a locals night December 8th, where some of the businesses will stay open later, serve some refreshments and that type of thing, to try to get some of the local people back downtown. Figure a weekday night would be more helpful than the price parking. We'll like it. On the 15th of December, we're going to have our Business Association Christmas party. I just want to let you know you guys are all invited. Hear more about that, but we'd like to see you all there as our guests. Fire Nights is coming up, and we've secured our ice sculptor person, so that whole thing will be going on just as good as it has been in the past. And Light Up Blue Ridge is right on schedule. I think the only thing we're needing some help with, if anybody out there can help, is with the gingerbread house. So if you do, just get a hold of Cindy and we can get that where we want to. So that's the update. Any questions from you guys? No. And thank you for the
houses come in Thanksgiving weekend. Is that what you were trying to say?
yeah.
The houses are delivered
Here for Thanksgiving weekend.
Tuesday before Thanksgiving, so that we can set them up. And then the judging will be Friday morning, and then the village opens at 11:30 Friday.
thanks for the packet.
Thanks for the lovely closing. My credit card wasn't happy, but. Okay, Lisa Pritchard. Oh, Mr. Ryan, I'm sorry, Lisa. You can't write that. I don't think so. I think you'll let me know.
I really don't have a lot to talk about, but I understand this evening somebody said that the new drainage cost estimate for West Main Street was $700,000. Is that correct?
Yes.
Where did that come from?
That's been the number we've been getting kind of all along.
Well, Corky gave you a price of $500,000, and I gave you that information.
Yes,
it was
we
in the
have.
form of an engineer's design for the water. Was that used?
They have that also. We have both of those.
So we're going to split the difference? Or?
Well, I think we're doing more than what Corky had in his plans. I think there's more to it. I think there's part of Mountain Street that's added to it.
Well, you know that they did the topographical drainage for the whole 240 acres of the city on that one that Corky did. Mm-hmm. Also, he designed the pipes and the conduit sizes going downstream. And you people paid $2,700 for that survey that you're not using. Plus, you paid the city engineer some money also on top of that. So I as a taxpayer...
They are using that.
How are they using it?
They're using some of that information. They're taking that information also, so they're not redoing that piece of it. And, you know, the engineer was here last meeting before and talked about it a little bit. He's found some other issues, so I mean, there's some other things.
I understand when the engineer's talking on his time, I can't get up because you don't allow the floor to speak. So I have to get up after he leaves the room and goes, so I can't say anything about it. What I'm just saying is that I don't see how $200,000 got added onto that figure, unless Corky doesn't know what he's talking about. Then I would want to get my money back.
Yeah, well, we haven't seen the comparison of both. That's just a number that they've given us is the $700,000. So I don't know if that includes putting back the asphalt. I mean, we don't have that information back yet.
Well, we're having a new development built next to our property, which is also going to have to improve the infrastructure that they are going to impart on the city. Is that correct?
Yes, that's going to be.
So they're going to have to do a big part of that drainage that's coming down that street right now. Is going to be their baby to take care of, because EPD will not allow them to do anything that infringes on anybody's property under a new permit. Mm-hmm. They have to get a new EPD permit to build when they build. And that's going to be one of the stipulations is that they can't infringe on other property. The sewer, everything gets impacted by them, so they have to take care of it. That's correct?
That's correct. And you have the water there beside you, so it's really close. So they're going to probably have to pull several permits.
And another thing that came to my attention the other day, I was speaking to Ms. Burns, and she said that she has a problem from Cook Street drainage on her property that I wasn't aware of, that I've been complaining about Cook Street drainage since it was done, making that stream more charged with water than it should be. So maybe that's something your engineer needs to look at too. I didn't know she had a problem over there, and I don't know if she's reported it to the city or not, but every time she gets a frog choker, it runs into her property.
Yeah, and I think we've looked at it a couple of times.
Yeah, and with this last torrential downpour that we've had these last few days, I had water in the basement of the building. There's the foundation wall, then there's a space, and then there's the walls to the different offices. And again, I've got water in between, and it's just the drainage or something. The water drainage can't handle all the water going down River Street coming off the Cook, and it's bad, very bad.
And I don't think that's a taxpayer's problem to take care of. I think that water drainage needs to be taken care of by the city.
Well, I think they've piped the water on the outside of Mrs. Burns' there, but I think some of it is also the wall there too. I think some of it seeps through the wall. Well, because you have some dirt in that wall too. It's not all concrete, I don't think. You've got
there's the foundation wall, and of course there's dirt on the other side, but on the other side of the foundation wall, it's concrete, and then the office wall. So, and it's been a problem for a long time. And it's just when we get real gully washers, you know, that in the ground saturated, there's nowhere for the water to drain. And apparently, the drainage pipes are not big enough to take it out of the system because it goes down the side of the building into the lane across 8th Street. So, yeah, it's a real problem.
Yeah, well, they're looking at all of the drainage from both areas there, so, because you're getting a lot of water down through that street, and you mentioned that several times.
I think that's all I wanted to talk about. There you go.
And I've been in her building and looked at it with several people, so.
Your budget almost went out. You had 2 seconds.
Okay, thank you. Lisa Pritchard, sorry.
That's okay.
Thank you. You're welcome. How's that? Better? First, I want to thank everybody for allowing me to speak. Second, last meeting, it was decided, I believe 3 voted, to pursue an investigation, what appears to be an open-ended investigation. A group of citizens has approached me, and they have retained counsel, to try to see if they can bring some sort of action that would reverse the burden of the cost of the investigation to the council members that felt it was necessary. My question, if they were successful, would, by show of hands, the ones that, do you feel that strongly, would you go forward should you have to pay for it and not the taxpayer?
Say do everybody understand?
Do you understand? I think 3 voted for the investigation. So,
say your question again then.
Would they go forward if they were paying for it versus the taxpayer? Like if they were personally paying for this investigation, would they move forward? The 3 that voted to do it.
I voted no, so
I'm not asking you. I believe it was Ms. Art, Bruce, and Mr. Kendall. Would you go forward?
Microphone.
Our policy says this is not question and answer session, so I'm not going to answer your question. But I will, first thing in the morning, I'll contact our attorney and ask him if we are liable for anything.
Well, I think what they were looking into was malfeasance of office. What they had told me was Georgia Code 2141. If you're not in the first 180 or last 180 days of your term, and they feel like that this money you're spending is an adverse effect on the public or the taxpayers, that they may have a reason to move forward with action. So I think right now they're just in the research stage, and I don't know if you'll be served, but we were contacted because we did, cover it. So we had several people, speaking out. We received some letters and things like that. So that was why I had a question.
Well, anybody certainly welcome, or not welcome, but has the right to sue if they want to. So if you want to take action...
I don't think they were looking to sue. I think they were looking to either have maybe some of the council removed because they don't feel like you're serving their interest. Because there's, the quote to me was there was a lot of bickering amongst you that felt like it was costing the citizens a lot of money.
Thank you. Frank Moore.
Hello, Council and Mayor. Thank you for giving me this opportunity to chat with you a little bit today. I too am in opposition of the investigation. I'm sorry. Is that better? Yes. I swore I was going to be loud enough for everybody to hear, but apparently not. Again, I'm Frank Moore. I have a law office on East Main Street, and I have been watching as people have tried to navigate that sidewalk down there. There's lips as small as 2 inches, and I see people actually trip on them as they try to go down and navigate the street. So it seems to me that is the place where money needs to be spent.
As a lawyer for 30 years, I also am a little bit concerned about the way it's been set up. And I actually put pen to paper and thought I'd go ahead and write this as an open letter to the City Council and to the Mayor, and I'd like to read an excerpt from it. By the way, while I'm not here on behalf of the Blue Ridge Business Association, I am a board member there. Of course, I'm a member of Fannin County Chamber of Commerce. So I'd like to read this letter very quickly. I write to express my opposition to the contemplated hiring of a law firm to perform an investigation into your conduct and the conduct of your predecessors. First of all, there is no defined scope for this investigation. Second, the only law firm that has been proposed, Gerard and Davis, has provided no budget. Finally, it does not appear that the law firm will report to any particular individual. These are serious deficiencies that suggest a lack of careful and thoughtful consideration of the exercise. As a lawyer myself for nearly 30 years, I worry that the law firm, given such a general charter, will consider its mission to be the searching for and identification of wrongdoing, however tenuous, minor, or stale the purported misconduct might be. A law firm given such an unstructured charter could easily perceive that it should leave no stone unturned and no expense spared in its quest to satisfy the perceived goal of finding misconduct. If it is going to be an effective investigation, at the very least, the law firm should be asked to initially investigate only those matters as to which there had been provided sufficient evidence of misconduct. The investigation should be conducted in phases, with the first phase to include a general investigation, be concluded with an opinion from the law firm as to the likelihood that further work will result in the uncovering of substantial proof of misconduct. The law firm should be made to provide a budget up front for the first phase, and after it has concluded its first phase, it should be required to provide a proposed budget for the second phase if needed. Before it embarks on the second phase, the Phase 1 report should be published, and the City Council and the public should be given an opportunity for comment on the advisability of the Phase 2 investigation into any area of concern. Again, these are my thoughts about the expenditure of what will clearly be a substantial amount of money for an open-ended investigation. And in that regard, I'd like to bring to the Council's attention, down in DeKalb County, they did a very similar investigation. So far, that investigation has cost $880,000. Before it was finished, there was a decision to revoke the effort. The effort was revoked, and of course, they ended up getting a report that basically was no report at all because they couldn't finish their work. So there they were, $900,000 with no real meat on the bone, and the money was gone. So I caution you there. I think that's a very cautionary tale for what's being proposed and contemplated here, and ask the council and the mayor to consider that. Thank you.
Thank you. Cindy Trumbull.
Mayor and Council, thank you for this opportunity. In January of this year, I brought to light an email sent to the City Attorney by Councilwoman Arp. In this email, I read out loud, Ms. Arp told David Siphon that all correspondence between her and the City Attorney pertaining to city issues were to be kept confidential. In other words, not discussed with Donna, Rhonda, or Harold. She went on to say it was okay to communicate with her, Rodney, or Bruce. She told him the three of them are on the same page, and it was their intent to stand together in order to get this administration back on track. This was printed in both newspapers, the Fannin Sentinel and the News Observer. I have been attending council meetings regularly for 3 years. I can count on one hand the number of times these three council members, Angie, Bruce, and Rodney, have not voted in unison. It appears there is discussion outside council meetings about the city's issues because these three do not seem interested in any discussion in the meetings, as requested by the mayor and Councilwoman Thomas. It is a violation of the Sunshine Laws if discussions are taking place outside the council. The people of this community deserve a fair chance to voice their opinion and concerns and be privy of all discussions between council members. Ms. Hart's campaign slogan, I have it right here in the newspaper, is in all the papers. I want to be a voice of the people. What people? As president of the Business Association, I hear over and over from our merchants that there is never an attempt by these three council people to come downtown, visit our businesses, attend the events we produce for the town and the community. They stay in their own corners. Where is the voice of the people? I have here a copy of the Citizens Guide to Government. It's also called the Georgia Sunshine Law. It clearly states that these laws apply to all entities which are an agency of the state or local government. This applies to our city government. One action that is a violation of the Sunshine Law is collusion. Collusion is secret or illegal cooperation or conspiracy, especially in order to cheat or deceive others. Are our council members coming to meetings with their minds made up? Are they giving others, the citizens of the community, a chance to voice their concerns about the issues being voted on? We can only make our conclusions from what we see and hear at council meetings. At last week's meeting, Ms. Arp started reading a letter regarding the hiring of a third-party attorney. Without taking a breath, she immediately went into a motion, and both Mayor Whitener and Councilmember Thomas interrupted and requested discussion. Ms. Arp snapped back and said, "There is no discussion. A motion is on the floor." In the blink of an eye, Rodney seconded and Bruce joined in, and the three again voted in unison, when Thomas and Herndon voted in opposition. From the audience, they appeared to have come to the meeting rehearsed. They knew what was going to happen and what they were going to do. They have not shown respect to their other council members, the mayor, or the people for whom they represent. The decisions in the council affect all of us. Last week's meeting was like a Monopoly game, and Monopoly money was flying all over. Where is the respect for our budget? Where is the respect for your city and your citizens? Thank you.
Thank you. Jack Morton.
Can you hear me? If I go over by a minute, I hope I have the same pleasure as some of the other people we got to speak. I begin by expressing how disappointed and sad it is that the three city council members find it necessary to begin an investigation of the mayor and the council and to spend literally hundreds of thousands of taxpayer dollars by bringing in legal counsel from an outside source. From the inception of this administration's term, the number one area of accomplishment has been spending taxpayer dollars on legal fees and trying to find a way to make their fellow council persons or the mayor look bad. Creating such turmoil should bring light to what is really going on in our city. It is obvious to everyone that the deck is being stacked. In every branch of city government, there are 5 members on the council, but it takes only 3 votes to move forward on any city issue without dispute or compromise. It is truly pathetic that the same 3 council members control everything with a 1-2-3 vote, leaving other council members, the mayor, the taxpayers without a voice or opinion on very important issues that concern every citizen in this city. Is it legal? Yes. Is it ethical? You decide. If an issue is presented to the entire council and mayor, and the 3 council members who have the power to vote no, because it doesn't benefit their interest, 1, 2, 3, you are dead in the water. The same holds true with the zoning and appeals board. In most appointments, you will find that the same 3 council members handpicked to conserve their personal interest. Are these appointees qualified? Time will tell. Once again, the deck is stacked. Are you beginning to see a pattern here? The lack of consideration for citizens of this community by council going behind closed doors and appointing and filling available positions before a council meeting is held is at best questionable. Can't we at least hear about their respective qualifications in a public forum? Are you beginning to see a pattern here? These boards and these 3 council members have voted down 3 different applications for the construction of new building projects downtown. Projects that would create jobs, create demand for local goods and services, as well as generate revenue and tax dollars for the city. It appears economic development is of no interest except when it benefits the same 3. The same 3 council members have already been sued over their backroom tactics and collusive actions. When will the next gauntlet fall? That will end up costing the taxpayers even more money. There are 5 council members and the mayor to govern. However, in the reality, there are only 3 making all the decisions without regard to the mayor or the other council members' input or concerns. Is this legal? Yes. Is this the government you want? You decide. I'm requesting the mayor to convene a town hall meeting to give citizens of this city and county the opportunity to be heard without restrictions, bias, or a 5-minute time clock. Power can be both productive and also dangerous if in the wrong hands. Having a council with 3 members with no intention of compromise with the mayor and other council members is unsettling and suspicious at best. There are many infractions that need addressing, and the residents of the city and county deserve leadership, the truth, and what is really going on in our town. Stop the bleeding. Enough is enough. The time has come to stop spending taxpayer dollars with no regard and to finding compromise. If this can't be accomplished, resign your position. You are creating a pathway for bankruptcy of our city by putting your personal agendas ahead of the citizens' voices. Do what is right for the city and begin by doing the job you were elected to do. You continue to profess there are no funds available for much-needed infrastructure, while at the same time you waste taxpayer dollars on frivolous lawsuits and unnecessary expenditures on the backs of the taxpayers. I would like to commend Mayor Whitener, Rhonda Thomas, and Harold Herndon for having the character to remain in your positions in spite of all the ridiculousness that you deal with on a daily basis. God only knows where we would be if any of the 3 of you had stepped down. I am amazed that the Georgia Ethics Commission has not taken it upon themselves to do their own investigation of what has been taking place for the last 2 years. Perhaps someone needs to give them an update. Mark my words and put it in stone. This group and their handpicked boards are preparing for the next election. Keep your eyes open for any city board seat that becomes available, and also which council members by a majority of the same 3 vote to appoint them. Then ask yourself, what is their association with the appointees? Do you see a pattern here? If you care about the future of this city, please come and voice your opinions at a town hall meeting. You will learn who is really trying to take over and what their agenda truly is. These are your tax dollars at work. Is this the representation the citizens of Blue Ridge and Fannin County deserve? Is this what you voted for? You decide.
Give us a second. We can actually see if they allow you more time.
I just have one last sentence. Okay? I said, these are your tax dollars at work. Is this the representation the citizens of Blue Ridge and Fannin County deserve? Is this what you voted for? You decide. You may want to be mindful of how much dirt you dig up, because it just may bury you. Thank you very much.
Well, I'm going to change gears just a little, although I do see where these people are coming from. I live over close to the city ballpark where the swimming pool is. I've got 3 granddaughters who play softball over there. And my reason for being here tonight, number 1, is to ask the council to seriously consider finding someone capable of taking care of that place. I've been over there a lot this year. I don't think I've ever seen it all mowed at one time. And the bank between the big field on the bottom going up to field 3 and 4. It's mowed now because I went over there to sing and check. But during the summer, I don't think it was. But it's just, the guy doesn't take care of the place. I don't care where you understand that or not. I don't know where you go there to see if he does or not. He likes riding the lawnmower. I know that for sure, because you see him over there riding. But when it comes to weed eating grass and stuff like that, and there's grass laying on the parking lot over there below the pool, he doesn't clean that up. So I'm just here as a citizen. I've been living here since 1970. To seriously consider finding somebody or putting a fire under the one you got before he can take care of the city park. I think That's what he's hired for, am I right? He's hired to take care of the city park over at the swimming pool and the ball park. But either find somebody or put a fire under him and see next year if he can't take care of the park.
Well, I think the detainees have been going over and helping mow, so I'm real surprised that they didn't keep it mowed, because I know they were in quite a bit this summer.
Well, between now and him, it's sure over being taken care of.
So, haven't heard anybody say that.
Does he put in 20 hours a week or 40 hours a week? Or?
Right now, he's actually doing things with the water department, but he probably puts in 40, I would think, over there.
I think if he put in 40 hours, he could keep track of them. I really do. I mean, I'm not.
Well, he does that, plus he helps take care of the bathrooms downtown and those kind of things. That's pretty much a very busy thing on Saturdays.
But anyhow.
And he has help with that too. So.
But it'd be nice if you go there and the place looks good and people coming in from out of town to play ball games and stuff and they can see the city park for what it really is. Let me throw one more thing in. My clock ain't when I see it. I believe I talked to you, Mrs. Mayor, about place for the kids to roller skate and stuff like that. And I would ask the council consider putting one of those over the park for the kids that ride the roller skates and stuff. They have an ice and it flares while they're at Meeks Park. Putting in one of them so the kids won't be doing it on the side of the street and stuff like that. But thank you for your time.
Do you have a proposal as to where to put that skate park? Bobby, you've mentioned that to me several times.
I do. It's where the little ball field used to be. Right there at the tennis court.
It's still there. The little ball field's still there, isn't it? Did somebody take it out?
It's still there.
I think so.
Okay. Move the trailer. Put it there.
Hey, I don't disagree with you there. I've always thought we shouldn't.
But see, I run Top Street a lot, and I see a lot of kids that's out there on roller skates and skateboards and stuff like that. They don't have a place to go.
And they're downtown on the sidewalks too.
They are too.
I'm afraid they're going to get hurt down there.
Thank you.
Thank you. Executive session. Oh, yes, we do need an executive session. I'm sorry, for personnel.
I would like to ask that we schedule a town hall meeting.
I don't have a problem with doing one. I just need to, and I don't think it's bad to do a town hall meeting for several reasons. The one thing I would say, Jack, is with the holidays coming up, I think we would need to try to make sure and get it in a time period when everybody can be here. We want to show up.
When do you think that would be? When would be a good time?
We got to advertise it too.
Yeah, I'll put it in the paper
What is that?
on Monday or Tuesday is fine.
Let me pull up my calendar. I'm looking at the first week of December probably.
That's fine.
So you're okay with that?
That would be fine. That's fine. And can we do it here at the city hall?
Well, I guess if we have a town hall meeting, this would be the best place to do it.
Well, I don't know that it'll all people.
Well, we don't have a bigger building, I'm sorry. We don't have a big... December 1st? That's a council meeting morning. So you could have a meeting that afternoon. Yeah. It's a Tuesday. Good morning.
Maybe 6 p.m.
We have a council meeting that morning. Is the Art Center bigger? Oh, Performing Arts Center. You'd have to see if you could use the Performing Arts Center that day. Do you want me to give a date so we can put it in the paper?
Yes.
I say December 1st. We've already got a council workshop that morning. and just do it that afternoon at 6 o'clock, like Bruce said. Tuesday or Thursday? I got something on the phone. Which one I can do the first, I can't do the third. So
Monday, December the 1st at 6 o'clock.
yeah, and the only thing I say about doing it somewhere else, we're kind of set up for our recording and everything here.
That's fine.
And most people kind of expect city hall meetings and public meetings to be at city hall.
And I have no problems with that, but I have a feeling there's going to be a lot of people here.
We'll just have to make it work. So maybe we keep our microphone working.
Thank you very, very much.
And I'm sorry, but we're going to have to do an executive session for personnel, so can I get a motion for...
Donna, can I just ask, with the sign for Hampton Square, is this then tabled again?
That's going to be a definite, because I don't think anybody was ready to make a motion of any type or to move forward that I'm aware of. But, Ms. Burns, I will tell you that I think we'd all like to resolve that. I don't think anybody up here wants you to not have a sign. I do think everybody wants to kind of make something work out for you. I don't know about the size and things like that. But I'm willing to sit down with Roy tomorrow, and I think Roy was waiting to meet with Angie and Rhonda, and I don't know if either one of them have something to do tomorrow, or if they could try to make an attempt to meet with Roy.
I had told him Thursday because I think we're closing.
Oh, we're closing. How about Thursday?
Yeah, I had to talk to him and I'm not committed Thursday.
So if they can meet Thursday, could we have a special call meeting maybe to resolve some of the design issues by Friday? How about Monday? Okay, how about Tuesday? I was just trying to keep them from having to wait again so long. Well, the 19th is 9 days. I'm sorry.
It's up to your schedule.
So we'll need to add to our 19th special call meeting the sign ordinance.
We attend that meeting.
Yes, you can. We'd love to have you there, as a matter of fact.
Can we speak at that meeting?
Hopefully we'll have enough information to you that we'll have some resolution, and maybe we meet with Ms. Burns beforehand, and maybe after Rhonda and Angie have talked to Roy, we have a conversation with you and see if we can.
Roy's got my contact information, so you can contact me if you want.
And I do think everybody realizes that it is difficult for you. So we don't want you to carry the buildings next door.
With one tenant, that'd be different, but this is 10.
November the 19th special call meeting, we're adding that to it.
Thanks, Don.
Thank you.
What time is that?
It's 10 a.m., we think. I think it is 10. I think we were doing it earlier that morning. Okay, do I have a motion for executive session? Personnel, do I have a second? All in favor?